Greetings, Ranger fans, and welcome to Database Rangers Power Reviews, where I take a look back at all of the classic episodes of Database Rangers Power Reviews as we count down the 100 weeks to the 100th and final episode. As I had mentioned last week, I have now disassembled our lovely couch. I'm hoping that soon I'll be able to possibly reconstruct what's left of it into something that is a usable piece of furniture, which it really no longer was, unfortunately, with the space that we have. Good evening, Jenny. Great to see you. So, as you can see, I sort of, in the meantime, have repositioned us into into the set. I had put up some set walls earlier to sort of cordon off a portion of this area for RJ to crawl around in while I was editing something. And I figured I'd just leave it up since I no longer have a couch to sit on, and I am instead sitting on the classic, can't actually see the back of it, the blue chair, which is still in action. Oh, hope you're having fun at Disney's California Adventure. Love that theme park. And yes, Chris, as I was just saying, this is our alternate background. If you enjoy it, I could probably keep using this. This seems to work pretty well for me at the moment. Hopefully not getting too much echo in the little box that I've set up for myself. Greetings, Nightwing Josh. Yes, I saw the Fan First Friday today. Phantom Ranger hitting the Lightning Collection as was predicted, and it is beautiful to see. So that is obviously an absolute must-have. I am amused that one of his blast effects looks to be not red from his chest, as you would expect for the Ruby Blast, but instead sort of a blue explosion, which leads me to believe that it is specifically, because it's the in-space Phantom Ranger from the episode Delta Discovery, when he got blasted by Piranhatrons and Quantrons. So that is, I mean, let's say every time the Phantom shows up in Power Rangers in space, he's getting blown up, which is not a great life to be living, but we work with it. And I will admit, Power Reviews has not been all that much kinder to him on a psychological level. As he's been just sort of broken down and built back up over and over and over again with so many breaks to his mind, as we've seen in various episodes. Ironically, this week, despite being the big reveal of the Phantom Ranger Lightning Collection figure and the big release of Edge of Darkness from the Power Rangers Unlimited comic book, this also was, a big premiere for Database Rangers Power Reviews, hitting the 93rd episode. And it was, once again, one of the very few episodes not to feature Database Ranger in it. So I guess Phantom got to take the spotlight in other arenas this week. And yes, I would absolutely love to see a Database Ranger custom head if anyone would like to pursue that. I feel like you could probably tweak a Tommy head, since ponytail, and just scrape away some of the hair, add a set of glasses, give him a little goatee. I think that would work. I would love to see someone do that. If anyone out there has the time and resources, that would be fantastic. Definitely looking forward to picking up that figure. And I mean, one of the fun things with the Phantom is I hope that I haven't tested it with the figures that don't have swappable heads, but I hope that Phantom's head is still removable, so that everyone out there can just play around with all the other different heads and make them all the Phantom Ranger however they please. So yes, I hope that everyone enjoyed the 93rd episode this week. Obviously a big focus on Guy. As I had said before, an episode with a lot of pathos, but Not quite so many things actively happening. A lot of things sort of being thrown at Guy in terms of the fallout of Database's capture, but obviously it was the last moments that were the real cliffhanger that we'll be picking back up on soon enough. So right now we have two simultaneous cliffhangers between 92 and 93, and I look forward to continuing with both of those. Hey Athena, great to see you. And yeah, pretend it was filmed over the last week. Yes, the Phantom Ranger was clearly doing a press tour. Absolutely. All right, so new set here for our live stream, and we're getting into a new era of power reviews in this look back. We just finished up the spring finale of year 1, and so here we're gonna kick off the summer season. Oh, and I realized I'm in this little tiny room that I've created for myself, but I forgot something. Give me one quick moment. Where is it? There we go. Everything's all tucked into places. Had to scoot around behind the set. But we must not forget our 3 equally non-controversial phrases. So, number 1, say it with me, chat. Black lives matter. Number 2, say it with me, chat. Fascism is bad. And number 3, say it with me, chat. Superheroes are fun. So, let's see our good old superhero, the Database Ranger, kick off episode 33 of Database Ranger's Power Reviews, our review of Power Rangers RPM episode 11, Dr. K. And go.
Previously on Power Review. Kind of an aspiring author. Still looking for a publisher, so I'm doing a web series for scientific and technical consultant.
And this just sort of wrapping up the series up until this point. Bringing together everything. You see, we have the whole thing with the violin, his relationship with Dr. K, has a friendship developed.
No, I do not need a co-host. And I have my apartment back. And
there we go.
I have a date.
Yes.
I have a publisher. What? And now, Database Rangers Power Review.
There we go. This episode
welcome to Power Review.
Was one
that... Is that what you expect me to say? Just pretend that everything's fine and that nothing happened?
What are you talking about?
You can't just up and disappear and then reappear out of the blue just as everything in my life is finally coming together.
Disappeared? What do you mean disappeared? Where did I go?
You were... No, wait, that's my question. Where were... You know what? Never mind. I don't care. I'm not playing this game anymore.
And Database continues to run away from the plot.
This conversation is over. I'm leaving.
But...
No.
Would you just...
La, 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 la.
Oh, that's very mature.
Can't hear you. Bye.
He is 100% determined that she is a hallucination at this point. And he's now heading off.
Yes,
and here's our first appearance of the secretary. The first secretary. Obviously, we have another secretary now in year 3. We played Keep Away with her face actually a lot longer than I originally had planned. In part because she wasn't available for her later appearance in episode 69 when she comes back.
I mean, I know that she's not. She can't. Real people.
But yeah, this was originally supposed to be the first classic episode review. In the original thought, original brainstorm session of the series. And this also sort of kicks off Database Ranger's tendency of using episodes to clarify his thought process, to keep him on track and to keep him calm. Which has now become just a driving run of how the show works.
Dr. K, Candy gives the opening narration of what was originally thought to be PR's last season, explaining how the Vengeance computer virus took over the world
This was
with its robot army and
always
managed
going to
refuge in the
be a
Dome,
must
which
in
may or may
terms
not
of
be
in
built
terms of
for
reviews.
and where they're protected
With Dr.
by-
K as a main character, there was no avoiding tackling this
Maybe I don't
episode.
remember all of it, but I will admit that theme did manage to burrow its way into my fond memories by sheer force of will. Leading the team is Stern Ranger Red Scott, Bonnie Ranger
This
Blue Flame,
was
Perfect Ranger Yellow Summer.
this was
Jumpy
also
Ranger
a
Green
very
Cynthia,
challenging
Brooding
episode
Ranger
for
Black Hill.
me.
Yes, I know it's after the word Ranger. No, I don't know why. I'm just
Well,
questioning
this
every
was an
moment
episode.
Ranger
I don't know if I'd say it
Don't
was
make
very
it sound like a
challenging so
computer
much as it was
Plus, I'm not
intimidating.
actually a Ranger, so.
I was
Anyway,
really.
she joins the cast along with Scott
Also, I
Sadler,
love that I just
Truman,
snuck in
and
there.
bonus
Oh,
Jack
also, I'm
Sadler,
not
who later
actually a
revealed
ranger.
his own cyborg sister to the surprise of absolutely
Just
no one,
getting in those
especially
little
since Cyborg himself had no
those
memory
little
of the
bits of
past,
foreshadowing where I
which
can.
definitely relate to. Ironically,
But this was an intimidating episode to write a review for because it's such a good episode. And I really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to mine comedy out of it like I had for so many up until this point.
No idea how I know that. Somehow she's commanding the Zord interface to her music.
Also, I will note that Matt McGreet, who wrote this episode, I believe went on to write for The Walking Dead.
Promising to join them shortly. Kay never left for people to see her cry. In a grand, oddly steampunk palace, Vengeance reveals his latest creation.
It's such a shift from how the show has been up until this point. Actually having an episode that's genuinely introspective.
Yeah, for all RPM's strengths, a plethora of intelligent and complex villains was not one of them. Anywho, crunch and shifter aside, actually, I'm not even sure if they've established which one is which at this point.
Yeah.
Vengeance
Yeah.
is still intelligent enough to trust Anaya 7.
Oh, there was a little edit error in this one, unfortunately. As there are in so many of them. That little ding that you heard a few moments earlier was supposed to go in that spot and got misplaced during editing, unfortunately. Probably got offset when I put in the previously on segment.
They have no hope of winning the giant robot arms race.
And also as I go...
Oh
Oh wow, I was still wearing those shoes back then. I haven't worn those shoes in so long. This is one of the very few times you can actually see his feet. And now that big flashback.
She never accused me of being stupid. And obsessive, compulsive, psychologically unstable, delusional, amnesiac, yes, but never stupid. And here's where we get to the meat of the story. As Kay thinks back to her time as a young girl.
It's great that that this episode allows me to look back on the relationship with a character that's been developed over the course of the previous nearly 30 episodes. And finally trying to reconcile that with the version of the character from the show. And this one's just such a heartbreaker, and all of the snark just kind of drains out during this bit. Because it's such a heartbreaking sequence. It's so well done. And then here we have these two agents who also and that is our official introduction to Alphabet Soup. That was such a fun way to introduce Alphabet Soup into RPM. And it's fun because we also introduced Alphabet Soup in a seemingly innocuous fashion with just Agent T sitting in the background of every shot set in that one restaurant for episode 28. Oh, Rose McIver has another show coming out. I didn't actually realize that. That's great.
To be quickly laid out by their own weapons. But before it can finish them off, the bot suddenly has a catastrophic systems failure. Shrinks back
Well,
down
as
to size.
Nightwing, Josh, to answer your question there, why doesn't Alphabet Soup just hire doctors out of college?
The military brings it to K's
It's entirely possible that they may have, but they wanted to try and specifically cultivate gifted children to try and maximize their potential. As we saw, the go-ahead to do that within the world of Power Reviews was Countdown to Destruction, the invasion of Earth by the United Alliance of Evil. That was the, okay, you have the go-ahead to take whatever means necessary to take action against the forces invading Earth. And so that is specifically the day that I chose for this this explanation of how everything happened. I had forgotten I did that great editing sequence. I really liked that sequence. Because that location was just used in so many different ways in so many different episodes. I really wanted to highlight that because it's a great location. I love it. Also, that took a lot of practice to get the whole swinging back and forth in the chair just right without like falling right out of frame. And then here's another bit where I just highlight all the different stuff that's being referenced at the same time. I forgot that I had done those sort of little editing montages in this episode. I haven't really done anything like that since, and I kind of would like to see more things like that in the future. So I don't know. Maybe I can find a way to have some more sequences that are a little bit more creative with our doing our montages of past episodes. Oof. Yeah, he's still trying to figure out why he sees Dr. K.
Because they're such perfect examples of high-end technology. Well, in the lab, tonight taunts K by going all Omar Little on her.
Look out. Omar's coming. I can't believe that I actually used a wire.
The taunt strikes a nerve, and she goes berserk with the sound can. Remembering how the world felt.
That face still trying to figure out where all his knowledge comes from. I haven't rewatched this episode in a very long time, and I really wanted to try and deliver a strong episode when I didn't have a co-host, and I didn't have anyone else other than me in this room, and I wanted to try and take advantage of that room by playing with the shots, having me leaning back in the chair, spinning around, putting my feet up, just to add a little bit of more dynamic camera angles to that, which is really only possible through the squeak. And that moment right there, oof. That's been our emotional cornerstone for so much work we've done with Dr. K throughout the series. Like seeing Dr. K broken in this episode, like this has been sort of an emotional inspiration for so many other moments with Dr. K whenever she, specifically with regards to her childhood self. Everything connected to her childhood self, which has now been revealed in the current timeline as K Alpha, just crushes her emotionally. So that's one of the reasons that we don't really have K being as casually snarky as she was during the first run of the series. Or during the first, year and a half of the series. Year 3, she's very focused on K Alpha, and trying to make up for what she sees as one of her greatest mistakes, alongside the creation of Vengeance. And I think I see the extension cord in that one corner there.
And with that, the credits roll as Kay remembers finally stepping outside the Alphabet Soup facility into the wasteland of her own making, and looks over the last remaining keepsake of her two lost friends. And
That episode's such a heartbreaker. I haven't watched it. I haven't honestly watched it in years, and it still hits hard.
Considered one of the best episodes of Power Rangers ever produced, and for good reason. It's a tightly focused, well-constructed, emotionally powerful story with great pacing.
I think it's great that the show has, in this point, Power Reviews has established such a rhythm over the course of the past 32 episodes that Database is now doing this out of habit. It doesn't matter that he doesn't think there's a camera there. It doesn't matter that he's not talking to anyone. He's doing this now out of habit. This is what he does. So he's got to be so he's doing this for himself. And it doesn't feel out of character. It doesn't feel out of universe. It's just the way that he works through things now. I really like how much I got out of shooting in this space. A lot of it, in terms of the blocking, if I recall correctly, was fairly improvised. I'm just like, okay, what feels right for Database in this moment? Maybe he'll be leaning back in his chair so he can look in the... Maybe he should be getting out of the chair now. Maybe he should be, taking a seat on the table. I wanted to keep it moving. It was very important to me that this be a dynamic episode, even though it's all one guy in one room.
It would be the end of the world for her to just step outside. Alright, speaking of word choices, for a season that's known for snarky banter, there are a surprising number of scenes here with no dialogue at all. Instead, the action is emotionally underscored by the beautifully appropriate choices in music.
The use of music in this episode really is fantastic. You very rarely see such good use of music in Power Rangers. There's so much that RPM went for artistically that no other season has ever attempted.
But overall, what's really at the core of this episode is her. Olivia Tennant's performance is poignant and heartbreaking. But that couldn't be if there weren't a poignant and heartbreaking story to tell. She was a little kid who wanted nothing more than to go outside and be a kid. Broke the world and tried to do it. So, why did she appear to me? It's because I'm just a big kid who needs to remember to go outside and see the world? Or there's something else she's trying to get me to remember? Something about my past, something about my name. Who am I? I'm trying to run through that question for so long.
And you can't keep running.
I tried to move on, but sooner or later, the past will always come back to bite you. You're vulnerable the moment you step outside. Outside your comfort zone, outside your little box, outside your... Actually, all this talk about going outside has reminded me I forgot to go before I left. I wonder if there's a bathroom around here. What?
And there we go. And that is the premiere of the summer season, which was probably our most successful run of episodes. This 8-episode arc, I am extremely proud of. I felt like it moved along at a good pace. It really changed up expectations for the series. This is sort of the, not exactly the first, but the real kickoff cliffhanger. with the agents with their trank guns. And I'm really proud of how well this one came together, because it's a fairly simple episode, where it's just Database sitting in a room. But I felt like I really executed it very well, because I felt like there was a lot riding on this episode, because it was the start of a new kind of arc, unlike anything that we'd really tried to do with the show before, with the proper introduction of Alphabet Soup, both through the review and more physically at the very end with the two agents. We lay down a lot of little bits of hints here. Database saying, "Well, I'm not a real Power Ranger." The return of Dr. K from temporarily being untethered from our universe, and just Database no longer being able to truly run from his problems. His problems are now basically chasing him. And he's going to keep trying until he's pushed back into that corner. And then we get to see what happens when you actually push DB into a corner. And that just, sets out that whole new string of questions. But yeah, I definitely very much like how well this came out, because this was something that was planned for a long time, and I kept thinking about, okay, where do I want to shoot? How do I want to do this? And a good chunk of it really came down to improvisation. Just being like, okay, I found a space that looks like it'll work, and I'm just going to pace around this space and feel what feels right for the blocking. And with regards to the script, I really wanted to, balance the gravitas of the episode, and of this moment with Database, while still keeping it light and fun, and finding those little flaws, or finding the little nitpicks, or finding ways for Database to be, Database, his super analytical self, getting off on tangents, talking about, all these different pieces that relate to this episode. How it pays off on a bunch of Chekhov's gun, how it makes use of recognizable scenery. All these little fun facts. I wanted this to be an episode that really had a lot of value. Because after he walks out of that apartment, he's walked away from really having his co-host to bounce things off of, and there's no one else in that room with him. He's just alone with his thoughts, and his thoughts are on, okay, maybe a Power Rangers episode can help me figure my life out. Which is, I don't know how relatable that is. For other people, I guess it kind of works for me. Like, how could Power Rangers help me figure out my life? It's definitely appropriate for DB. And yeah, Josh, we still haven't even gotten to the glowy eyes thing, which will be at the very end of the of the summer season. I love this ride. I love how much this really shifted gears for what the show was, and really brought a lot of attention to the series that unfortunately has waned over the years. Obviously, when you're releasing 40 episodes in 1 year, you're able to build up enthusiasm a little bit better than when you're only releasing like 4 or 5 episodes a year at best. Unfortunately, I'm not in the same place that I was back then. I'm not working a job that, where I can just sort of shut off my brain for a few hours, or go to work exhausted, and still be okay. back then I was doing data entry for State Farm was my temp job. I was temp at this time in my life. So I had a lot more free time on my hands. I was working about 15 minutes away from where we lived. So I didn't have a big long commute like I do now. I didn't have, I was just sitting at a desk typing things without having to think about them. I had all this brain space to keep developing the show, and I would just come home and I would work. Every day I would come home and this is what I would do. And I'm not in that position anymore. I have a career now as a teacher. I have a family now to take care of. I'm in a very different spot in my life, and obviously, the complexity of the show has ramped up. There are usually effects, setting up and taking down the set. It's not just me in a single room like this episode. Instead, it's a bunch of different characters interacting. So the complexity of the show increased, unfortunately, as the complexity of my life increased. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reaching this final stretch. There's six. I've done 60 episodes now since this episode, which is crazy, and it's been 8 years since this episode. And we just have 7 episodes left to be released. 3 more this year, 4 more next year, and that'll be the end of it. And I'm still trying to find ways to make sure that I deliver in a way that feels appropriate and suitable and will be satisfying to myself personally and hopefully to you as an audience. So yeah, that's fingers crossed, knocking on all the wood there. And yes, as Esteban, I teach math and physics. So although I do talk a lot about writing and story structure and characters, and I have a strong theater background, along with a second degree in electronic media arts and communications, I am primarily my first degree was in physics, which is obviously very different from what I'm doing here, but it does speak, I think, to my analytical mind. A lot of things just sort of flow together in terms of just digging into how things work, whether it's how a movie works or how the universe works. Those are always things that I was interested in. And I've been becoming, over the recent years, increasingly interested in how society works and how it could work better. We are, in a very difficult time for a lot of people out there. We did manage to come back from the brink in certain regards, but there's a lot of work still left to be done to make the world a better place for everyone. And I'm hoping at the very least that I'm providing some happiness to people with this channel, with these reviews, with everything that I've been doing and trying to build over these last going on 9 years. So with all that said, should probably be wrapping up. Thank you, Esteban. I try to take good care of myself. MJ would argue I don't do a great job of taking care of myself, but I try. Congratulations, Jenny. I'm so glad to hear that. Good for you. 100%. Fantastic. Yeah, I just finished up all my grading last week. All wrapped up with schoolwork stuff. I just have to drop off my keys, drop off my computer, and then I'm all wrapped up on that. I was gonna do that earlier in the week, but I ended up not having time to make it back to the school between trying to finish up the episode, family coming to visit, disassembling a couch so people could film in this space, We did get some great filming done this week, and I'm looking forward to more great filming getting done next week and every week throughout the rest of the summer as we work towards that final run. I'm hoping that at this stage, I'm thinking episode 94 will probably be at the end of August, and I'm going to be aiming for episode 95 to be coming out in October, with episode 96 in December. I still feel as though I'm on track for 96 to be released at the end of this year. The really tricky thing right now is, getting everybody together for filming the final, 5 episodes after that, which I'm still, making steady progress on. We're knocking out people's final scenes, but there's still more to go and more to go and more to go. Especially this month is going to be big. But also, I still need to take care of some things with 94 that still need to be straightened out. A lot needs to be done on 94. 94 is not nearly as far along as I would like for it to be compared to some other episodes. Like 95 is way further along than 94 is right now. So, all that said, I was about to be saying goodnight, and then I got off on another little tangent, as I am wont to do. But before we leave, once again, our 3 equally non-controversial phrases. So, number 1, say with me, chat, love is love. Number 2, say with me, chat, trans rights are human rights. And number 3, say with me, chat, robots are cool. Or at least we try to be. I hope that everyone has a happy Independence Day weekend, that you're able to spend time with your family, and whether that is, family by blood or family by choice, your friends, whoever it is that you wish to celebrate this holiday weekend with, I hope you have a great time. And I hope that everyone's responsible out there. I know that things are finally starting to open up again, so don't go too crazy. So with all that, thank you all very much once again for joining me. I look forward to talking about the next episode, which has a lot of fun elements to it. But until next time, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.